I did have a question about mental toughness because, I mean, you got to be mentally tough to cook for other people, right? Especially if you're not as experienced. So, can you talk about the mental toughness you have to be a chef? Because the reality is, you could do everything right, and somebody may not like your dish, right? And for some people, they may take that and start to doubt themselves, and think, "Am I as good as I thought I was?" That person may just not like onions, right? So, can you just talk about that side of it and how you kind of mentally process the good and the bad, right? So, not letting the good get you too high up, and not letting the bad get you too low.
Yeah, it's funny. Like he was just mentioning Gordon Ramsay, and what our OGs are like is just like with a field night, where I'm going to yell at you so much that even the crowd, the opponents, there's nothing that's going to get in your mind more than my voice. Once a chef teaches you that, I don't care if you don't like onions. You just didn't like onions. I know my dish is good. You can't rattle me.
Right.
So it's essentially about confidence going into the kitchen way before the person decides whether they like onions or not. So you really are being built up to have a tough skin over everything. Like it cannot even be about that person. Excuse me. It could be, I burnt my hand while I was making your food. So I could have been putting onions and then sprinkle onions across all four and didn't remember that you didn't like them. It's so many different compartmentalized mental spaces that your chefs that are ahead of you teach you how to do by overly yelling or being overly aggressive or rattling your cage while everything seems fine. Now, that's been called bullying nowadays. It's been considered kind of outlawed. That's why it's on TV and that's why it's celebrated, because it's just like hazing. People's lives are not as conditioned to handle and or accept that kind of berating and go into regular life. It's just not like that anymore. So we do have a lot more chefs that break down. And I suggest that you do go through some form of hazing. You do go through some form of mental discipline, whether it be yourself or have someone put you through it. But knowing how to be put through something that's stressful that you can't prepare for, but someone else has been through, is paramount to the educational phase. You really have to let somebody put you through the fire. So I let my chefs do that to me. And you also got that one chef that help you lick your wounds. For every bad chef that's going to yell at you and throw your food across the room, you're going to have the sous chef that's going to come back and be like, he didn't mean it. You know that you're better than that, or that you can do more. And then you just build yourself up. You know what I mean? Because you got to break yourself down to build it back up again. That's the only way you can get better in this situation.
Man, I know Austin's thinking the same thing I'm thinking, man. I'll let you go.
No. I mean, yeah, society, we're just think we've kind of lost that, mental toughness as a society, especially in America. I don't think America is what it is without the people before being mentally tough.
Right.
And then, yeah, man, going back to what you said, it's just about kind of going through the fire. Like, it's a reference to Tim Grover book, but he proposed a question about like, how would you define winning? And most people would be like, success or, get into the top spot, whatever the case may be. But his definition was like, like winning is like, it's nasty. It's tough.
Right.
Like it's resentful. Like it's not a pretty road, man. And
right.
I think if people can understand that and realize, look, you're going to go through something in order to get to that next level, in order to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But nowadays people they want it right now, and they don't want to go through stuff.
Right.
So it's Yeah, that's just again, me and Marshall, we talk about this stuff all the time, man.
Yeah, see, and
Tough.
that Grover's book for me, it lets you know, like, to clock in that space, like with he's saying of the nastiness and the resentfulness, is Kobe and D Wade and Mike and all of them had to tell their families, hey, I have to focus. I love you to death, but where I'm going and the winning that I want to do requires a certain mental acuity that I have to block any and everything out. So that's the portion of winning that's going to be nasty and resentful and gritty. And it's the same way with chefs, where as a private chef, if I'm Mike Chef or D Wade Chef or God bless the dead, if I'm Kobe Chef, then I have to be up when they're up. I have to cook when they cook. I have to do what they want me to do. And right now, literally, when it comes to Damian, he's still not in his prime yet. We still haven't seen prime Damian Lillard. So I have to keep that person mentally and food wise prepared for his version of winning. He's in that Tim Grover season of, I'm really ready to do any and everything it takes to get to that next level of success and the next plateau in his career. So, like, yeah, man, it takes so many different things that people honestly aren't ready for. And when they start talking about how much these guys get paid, but if you were to know what was entailed in their job, then the level of things they have to sacrifice, then you know what their price tag is.